Ahoy, everyone. This is David Eugene Perry with one of my favorite people on earth. And that is not just a PR person talking. I know it's true. Alfredo knows it's true. She knows it's true. The day before the biggest event in her life, I think, every year except her birthday, Oscar Eve. Welcome to the Zoom room, the one and only Emmy Award winning hat lady, Jan Wahl. Jan, hello.
Hi, David, darling. How are you?
I'm fine. So I imagine you're very excited about tomorrow night.
I am. I get excited about a lot of things like this. Show business excites me. Really great show business excites me so much I could barely breathe. I mean, I really get crazy. Right now, I'm doing two things just happened this morning that was so exciting, I almost passed out. One is that I'm dealing with the new Academy Museum that's opening in Los Angeles.
I heard about it.
Motion Picture Academy Museum. I've got to give you the PR gal's name because it is going to be the most remarkable place with the most wonderful collection of memorabilia, costumes, props, events. It's fabulous. Where the old May Company was, where I used to buy my clothes when I was a kid on Wilshire and Fairfax.
Well, let me tell you. So the combination of that museum opening, along with the George Lucas Museum of Narrative Art in a couple of years, I mean, Hollywood has never been more Hollywood.
That's right. It's so exciting. And so that the Academy Museum is opening September 29th, by the way, to the public.
Well,
I'm going
hopefully
down
we'll both be there.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to go down for a private tour, honey. I'm putting my Mae West garb on and I'm going down.
Drag Alfredo and I along with you.
Oh, wouldn't that be fun? Oh my God, we'll have so much fun. You know, I know Alfredo. He'll sneak off and he'll find all the best stuff. So that's good. We got to pay attention to him.
I'm married up.
So then the other thing that happened is I got to interview, you know how you and I are. And if we get to interview somebody that it just means a lot to us, you know, I mean, almost makes us cry. They mean so much. Well, that happened to me this morning because I got to interview Gene Kelly's widow, and she is amazing. Her name's Patricia. She did a one-woman show in San Francisco about 4 years ago, and she comes and she does this 2-hour show where she shows she was married to him for like 15 years at the end of his life. She was a lot younger than him. Okay, so she's a former librarian, very kind of intellectual, and she ended up interviewing him every day for 15 years. Gene Kelly, I mean, hello. And so she's got everything from the way he liked his pants cut to show his butt, because he had this perfectly muscled butt. Are you there, David?
I'm here.
And then
you thought I just gave you a thumbs up, Gene Kelly's butt.
Cool. And then also she talks about his politics. He was extremely progressive. He was an ultra liberal progressive, and he did a lot of union organizing. And actually, he would have been busted. She talks a lot about this. He would have been busted during the McCarthy era, the shameful McCarthy blacklist, if he hadn't been making so much money for MGM. So he would have been busted because he was so out there with the left wing, you know?
Well, you know, and it reminds me of all the tales we've heard about, you know, for instance, the incredible movie that I know we're going to talk about soon, Mank, the politics of that era. You know, right. Kirk Douglas, the stand he made for progressive politics. And what a lot of people don't realize, Frank Sinatra broke the color wall. I mean, Frank Sinatra was hugely influential for entertainers of color.
He would not play in Vegas unless they could stay at the same hotel. So he allowed people like Nat King Cole and Louis Armstrong and Sammy Davis, of course, to stay at that hotel. In the past, they always had to stay on the other side of town, the African-American performers. So yes, that would be Sinatra. Ugh, Sinatra. Ugh.
Well, and isn't it true that Hattie McDaniel couldn't even sit in the audience when she was nominated for Gone with the Wind?
That is correct.
Listen, we could take more than the half hour or so we have, but before we start, to our viewers today, we have a contest for you. So write this down. My email, news, just like newspaper, or news like Jan Wahl always makes, at davidperry.com, because you can start sending us now your predictions for tomorrow night's Oscar winners. And the person who gets the most right first wins a double autograph, an autographed copy of my award-winning novel, Upon This Rock.
The sexy, exciting award-winning novel.
Thank you.
It is so good. I almost read it in one sitting because it was so interesting, you know.
And Jan's helping me do the casting, so you get a free gift.
Yeah, yeah.
So write that email down and I'll put it in the Facebook post as well. But let's get right onto it. We've been talking about Hollywood stars who worked for progressive values. Has there ever been an Oscar ceremony more significant politically than what we're going to see tomorrow night? And in one of my favorite buildings on earth, Union Station.
Union Station. That's because you love architecture and you love the Art Deco. That's why it's so great. The back to the Motion Picture Academy Museum. They left the facade, the Art Deco facade from 1939 of the May Company, just like it was. So, yes, Union Station. It's beautiful. It's so Art Deco, so Hollywood. Anyway, yes, it is. Some of it's going to take place there. Some of it's going to take place in international places that we don't even know about. I mean, it's going to be some surprises. There's going to be great fashion. I really think people are going to pull out the fashion. So that's going to be a lot of fun, men and women. You know, I just go crazy for that stuff. Oh, I'm forgetting to breathe again. So anyway, I get so excited.
Get an oxygen tank. I'll give you a scuba outfit.
This is also a year where 2 women are nominated in the same year for director. I vote in the Directors Guild of America since 1977. I got in when I was very young. But anyway, I'm so happy because my favorite movie of the year, that woman is probably going to win Best Director, which we'll get into in a second. And then also it's a year where there's the first Asian American actor ever nominated for Best Actor. Asian actor. He's an Asian actor. And then, and African Americans, producers, the first time a whole production company of Black people have been nominated. So, there's all kinds of firsts in this one. And it's exciting. It's an exciting year. And I can't wait. I just can't wait. I look forward to it. I would like it if there were no written acceptance speeches. You know, I have a thing about that every year. We talk about that.
Yeah, well, Jan, I remember my grandmother always told me to take the speaking advice of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who said, when you're giving a speech, remember the 3 B's. Be sincere, be truthful, and be seated.
I love that. That's like the 3 G's. Get sincere, get good, and get off.
Right. Yeah. And as I say, the 3 G's of dealing with the press.
Right.
Get the journalists the information.
Right.
Then, get their attention. Right. Get them the information, and then get out of their way.
I've been to the Oscars a lot. I'm lucky.
I know.
I've been as a stage manager. I got to stage manage together. I remember, again, almost fainting. I stage managed Sean Connery, Roger Moore, and Michael Caine together when they were presenting. Also, Regis and I did a pre-show where Elizabeth Taylor came up to us with this necklace, and she was so beautiful. And she said, Regis said to her, "What do you think of the Academy Awards, Miss Taylor?" And she said, "Darling, I am the Academy Award."
What was your favorite Academy Award that you were at in some way? Your favorite?
Good. Okay. So anyway, one time I was a date of Gene Nelson. It was great going as a date, much better than going as a reporter. So I was a date with Gene Nelson, who was in Everything's Up to Date in Kansas City, Oklahoma, and also was a TV director, which is how I met him at ABC. Anyway, he was my date. And it was the year that musicals were being celebrated, movie musicals. So I'm a movie musical nut. So all around us, was Debbie Reynolds, yak, 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 and whoa, and everybody was just all thrilled to see Gene. And because Gene was a great dancer, Doris Day came out for that one. And it was all these musical greats, right? Gene Kelly, Fred Astaire, who's shy, but Gene Kelly, who's out there, very Irish. It was just, and Donald O'Connor was there, who I used to date also. So there I was with Gene Nelson and Donald O'Connor.
I'm sorry, Liz Taylor. You are not the Academy Awards. Jan Wahl is the Academy Award. So listen, let's get into it.
Yes, okay.
Tell me, first of all, not your predictions for who's going to win. I'm going to get to that second. I want you to tell me, and this is not what you think people would like, but what was Jan's favorite movie? What was your least favorite movie? This year. Okay. And what do you think is the significance of this whole year, COVID and Black Lives Matter, on the Academy Awards? 3 questions for you. Your favorite,
that's
your
a
least
very good
favorite?
question. Yeah. David, as usual, you're asking really insightful questions. First, I want to get into, what does it mean with COVID and all that, and what do the Oscars mean? Why are the Oscars important? Why do we care? They set the bar for excellence. They are not about box office. It's very important. Filmmakers have to rise up to that. The other thing is they promote and encourage people to see movies they wouldn't see otherwise. Right now, this is not an Oscar year people are invested in because nobody got out to the theaters because of COVID. So it's quite the different time. This is a really different time. And people are ready to go out to the theaters and finally see things, and theaters are starting to open. I saw my favorite film of the year, Nomadland, in a big theater, in a theater. There was only a few of us because they were being very careful about how they sat people. It was in San Rafael, but I got to see it on the big screen. And believe me, that film is so cinematographic. It's so powerful in its simplicity. It's such a gorgeous movie, not screenplay, but everything else will be won by Nomadland. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
and what was your least?
So maybe not Best Actress. I'm not. No, I don't think Best Actress. I think a disappointing movie for me, the Carey Mulligan film, Promising Young Woman, but she'll win for Best Actress because of all the things she's done in the past. But for me, that was a revenge thing and not that terrific. The movie I was most disappointed with, you asked that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Look, David, what do I love more than anything aside from food and sex? What do I love more than anything?
Well, and you're gay.
Classic Hollywood. Classic.
Yeah.
Hollywood.
Well, I was going to say you're gay fans and classic Hollywood. So yeah.
And of course, the LGBTQ community and classic Hollywood, which is redundant. Hello. Yeah. Anyway, I saw Mank, okay? And I went and saw it on the big screen because I thought I'm going to give it every opportunity because, first of all, it's about the making of Citizen Kane. It's about Herman Mankiewicz. It's about Marion Davies, William Randolph Hearst, everything I'm interested in, everything I know about. I couldn't wait. That movie disappointed me terribly. I thought it was badly done, boring. David Fincher really disappointed me, even though he's a great filmmaker. This time he went off into a different area. One third of the movie is about Upton Sinclair and the gubernatorial, all of that doesn't belong in there. It should have been more about Citizen Kane and Orson Welles, and I'm still pissed.
And do you think it's going to win a bunch of stuff though?
I think it'll win visual effects. It'll win costumes. It'll win, for technology. Technically, it was beautiful. And I'm glad Marion Davies is getting some love, and all of that. But
underestimated, I think.
Oh yes, and it's an example that when you marry when they never got married, but when you hook up with someone like William Randolph Hearst, it's not all good because she could have been a great comedian, but he kept putting her into these big overblown things that didn't really match her particular talent.
More about his ego than her talent.
Exactly. But Citizen Kane, how much better there's that? So that should have been a great movie. Very big disappointment this year. But, like The King's Speech and all these, Network and all these great movies, there are a few good ones, but not so great this year. But I think next year we're going to be talking about movies we can really invest in.
Well, that's interesting. It's the other day. I haven't seen as many of this year's Oscar-nominated films as usual. Well, and I could have online and Netflix and all that kind of stuff. But I'm like you. I want to sit in a big theater with a big thing of popcorn and some unhealthy snacks. I've been watching Netflix and old mysteries. Right. And the other day, I rewatched a movie that to me is one of the classics. And that's the question for you. Is there in this year's nominees a movie like Network that is so ahead of its time that we'll be talking about it 30 years on?
Perhaps Nomadland, perhaps. Not everybody would agree, though. See, everybody will agree with Network. He was so, the movie talked about things way ahead of its time and 100 other things that are still relevant. Nomadland, a lot of people disagree with me. I found it a spiritual experience. I would beg people to not do anything while they watch it. Don't be talking on the phone or plucking your eyebrows or doing anything like that. Just watch it. It's a piece of art. However, it's a spiritual journey. I don't believe there's anything this year like that. I just don't. It's time, but we're going to all go to the big screen this coming, year once everything is a little more settled down. But not seeing things on the big screen is a problem. You don't get the cinematography, the sound, the production values. I mean, you need the magic.
Or the shared emotional experience.
Exactly, David. The cinema paradiso.
Yes.
And then talking about it on the way home. Oh my God.
Well, again, to remind everyone, we have a contest. So Jan's going to go through her list of predictions. You can email us. You can email us starting now, news, like newspaper, NEWS at davidperry.com with your predictions. And the person who gets the most or all of them right first gets a doubly autographed copy of my book signed by the great Jan Wahl, who's going to cast the movie and be in it. I'm going to get you in that movie, I promise. So, Jan, classic.
As long as you take me to that little Italian town, I'm there.
Orvieto, you will love it.
Oh, my God.
So, we're talking about classic Hollywood, and you don't think there's going to be any movies this year that may stand the test of time. Maybe Nomad. What is the impact? And I think I know the answer already, but I want to hear you wax on about it. The impact of Amazon Prime and Netflix on two things, movie making and the Oscars.
Okay. Great question. You ask the best questions. I'm like this with Netflix. I watch Netflix all the time. When they made Hollywood, that series, I loved it. I mean, I'm grateful to Netflix. I watch so much on Netflix. I think they're terrific. They're like the old MGM studio days with Warner Brothers thrown in for the guts. I mean, they just have the greatest feeling about documentaries and features and international and all that. Their effect is they're just setting the bar higher. They're just making people want to do more. But again, it's not the magic of the big screen. So that's important to us, And then Hulu gave us The Great about Catherine the Great, and that's coming out in part 2. Oh, my favorite thing this year from Netflix, actually, because Hollywood was the year before, would have been Bridgerton.
Of course. So I got to tell you, before you go on, Alfredo's mother and father and Alfredo and his brother and I, we speak every day by Skype. We used to do it once a week, but since COVID, we haven't seen him in over a year and a half. We talk every day, and they get US TV in Spain. So we told them we were watching Bridgerton, and Alfredo's mother started watching. We said, it's a little bit racy. And his mother said, oh, no, this is Spain. The ads on TV have women's breasts out. It's nothing. We said, well, what episode are you on? Episode 3. I'm like, okay. So a few episodes later, we're on the Skype with Alfredo's mother, and she said, oh my God, it's almost porn. We're like, yeah.
Yeah.
But she didn't stop watching. She didn't stop watching.
No. You don't stop watching Bridgerton, and they're coming out with part 2. So that's going to be great. So anyway, everything's setting the bar higher. That's good. But the studios have to come out, give us big screen movies, and that's what's going to happen. So these are my opinion of what I think will win. You can agree with me or not agree with me. We're all critics. Like I said about Nomadland, a lot of people have been telling me they didn't like it. That's fine. Everybody's a critical thinker. I loved it. Okay. So best picture, I'll start with. Is that okay, David?
You bet.
Okay. So I'm going to go for Nomadland. Now, some people are saying the upset's going to be The Trial of the Chicago 7. Also very good. But I'm going to go for Nomadland. For director, I'm definitely Chloe Zhao for Nomadland. Then actor in a leading role, I think they're going to give it to, even though I wouldn't vote for him, I would say they're going to give it to Chadwick Boseman. Yeah. People are so sad that he passed. They're bereft. He was wonderful. I'm not knocking him, but that's how I think it's going to go down. I myself would, I don't know, Riz Ahmed, who was the first Muslim to ever be nominated, out Muslim, for Sound of Metal, which is a really radical, interesting film. Do you watch Bill Maher? Bill Maher, go into YouTube. Bill Maher on the Oscars is really terrific. He calls them Debbie Downers. He calls them, these are the Debbie Downers, because everything is so depressing. But hopefully Hollywood will come back and give us a little more uplift, I'm hoping. Anyway, okay, so that's Sound of Metal was really terrific, but so sad. Okay, actress in a leading role. I'm going to say Carey Mulligan will get it. So I would, Frances McDormand, this would be her third Oscar. But she kills in this movie. Anyway, in a supporting role, Leslie Odom Jr., I would give it to for, yeah, do you agree with that, David?
Yes.
As Sam Cooke.
Yep.
One Night in Miami, even though a lot of people are going for Sacha Baron Cohen as Abby Hoffman. And
Yeah, even just not to interject here,
yeah.
but
Go
just
ahead,
so you know,
interject.
the Chicago 7, it's the first film in which I could actually not only stand to watch Sacha Cohen, but he was perfect.
He was fine as Abby Hoffman, yeah. Well, a loud Jewish guy, I mean, I don't think that's that big a stretch. I'm not a fan of I don't really watch that Barat stuff. It's
I don't
my
either.
humor. I'll go for Mel Brooks and I'll go for 100 other humors, but
yeah, well, to me, Sacha Baron is a class act, low class. The other humor, like Mel Brooks and whatnot, sometimes it's pushy, but it's never mean. And
right.
Sacha Baron in Barat was the first movie I ever walked out of.
Interesting. Well, anyway, he could win, but I'm going to say it's going to be Leslie Odom Jr. And then in a supporting role, this is a really great one. I truly believe she's going to win. She's she's in her maybe early 80s, late 70s, Korean woman. She's called the Meryl Streep of Korea. She's
oh my God.
Forever. If you talk to anybody Korean, which I have, they love this woman. Okay. And she's in Minari, and she's the grandmother. Yo Jong Ewan.
I saw an interview with her, and I've seen the movie, and oh my God, there are some scenes in that I was glad I wasn't in the big theater, because I could pause it so I could just stop laughing and then go on.
She's so funny. She is really humorous in that film. When the little boy said, that darling little boy says, "You're not a real grandmother. You don't make cookies. You don't tell stories." Because she likes wrestling and gambling.
Yeah.
It's a great, great performance. So I think even though Glenn Close will be on her ninth Oscar nomination, and they would give it to her just for that, I just think that this woman in Minari is going to take it.
So you think she's going to get it, but do you think Glenn Close deserves it, or that would just be a?
Well, I mean, she always deserves it. For 9 times, she's deserved it. But
why doesn't Hollywood like Glenn Close?
I don't know. They've given her nominations 9 times.
Do you think I'm being unfair? I
don't think they don't like her. I mean, it's just that every year is different. Everything is quirky. It's not exactly chopped liver to be nominated 9 times.
No, I just remember when she was nominated and lost for The Wife. The next day on Facebook, there was this meme, and it was Glenn on one side going, "I should have won," and the other side, Hillary Clinton going, "I know, girl."
I know how you feel, girl. Yeah. Oh well. So anyway, I don't know how far you want to go into international. Okay. Foreign film. It was once called foreign film. That's called international features. There's a very good film, Quo Vadis, Aida. Most people have not seen any of these.
I saw it the other day advertised. I was thinking about watching it. I wanted to ask you.
Well, it's good. It's very good. It's very strong. It's very sad. But Another Round from Denmark, Sweden is about these guys. Get this, David. They think they can be drunk at the office and keep drinking, and it'll give them an edge. So it's about alcoholism. It's really, I think, will speak to a lot of people.
So it's like a Scandinavian Mad Men.
It's called Another Round. And then adapted screenplay, which, this is some interesting stuff. I think they're going to, because, you have to think, how do the Oscar voters think? And they think, well, One Night in Miami, which is a very good film, didn't get director, which it should have, Regina King. So they are giving it adapted screenplay, I think. And original screenplay, I think, will be Trial of the Chicago 7, which is Aaron Sorkin's great, great script. I would have done that film a little different. I wonder if I love it so much because I remember that. I remember the Chicago.
Well, yes. I mean, we have an emotional tug to the things that we identify with.
Yeah. And like I said, I think Nomadland will get things like cinematography. I think costume design, which so many people are interested in, will probably go to Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. But I'm sorry they did the makeup so heavy in that.
Yeah. So what about Viola Davis this year?
What's that?
What about the black
Well,
actress
she's up
this
for
year?
she's up for actress in a leading role.
Do you think that but you don't think she's going to get it this year?
No.
I read an article today, I think it was the LA Times, that was
Oh.
calling her the African-American Meryl Streep. What do you think of that?
Yeah, she has more nominations than any African-American actress. She's absolutely amazing. She's won Oscars, she won supporting. She's won Tony, she's won Emmy.
Yeah.
She's quite remarkable.
What about, not to interrupt you, but because I also want to know one of my favorites, just because I, paid for college by playing piano and singing in a nightclub. Thank you, Brandy Snifter. Best song. What's going to be best song this year?
Oh yeah, well, this is the year of a fantastic. Well, every year it's almost redundant to say that our own Emeryville's Pixar.
Yes,
fantastic. But this year they knocked it out with Soul. So interesting.
Alfredo and I loved it.
Yeah, I know. We died. So, it's so beautiful. It's so innovative. Everybody's got to see it. So I believe it's going to win original score, and it's going to win original song. Let me see if it's up for original song. Oh, it's not. Okay, but it is up for original score. The song will probably be from One Night in Miami, Speak Now, but it's not up for. There's no song that it's.
Well, let me ask you the last question. As we get into, we have about 5 minutes left.
Okay,
talk to me about Billie Holiday and I've read several articles. I haven't seen the movie yet, and I think I've been saving it because I know it's going to be, as Maher says, a Debbie Downer. It's not an uplifting story. One of my favorite poems is by one of my favorite poets, Frank O'Hara, and he wrote a famous poem called "The Day Lady Died," and it was about watching Billie Holiday perform. If you've never read that poem, I'll send it to you. "The Day Lady Died" by Frank O'Hara. And I've listened to Billie Holiday. Her story resonates with me. I know the movie is going to be hard to watch.
It is.
I've read articles that said she's amazing, the movie not so much. What do you think?
Right. I believe that. I believe she's amazing. The way the film is made is the problem. A lot of times now they don't invest us right away into these characters and their backstory, and there's too much on the side. Like Ma Rainey is this way. There's too many parts about them, the band, not enough about her. So you don't get invested. Whereas Ray, the film about Ray Charles, very much invested you all the way through. But one of the things that happens, and Audrey Day is fantastic as Billie Holiday, but and it's her first big starring role, so everybody's very impressed with that, and she's very good. Here's the problem, David. I think you'll agree with me. We both love show business. I mean, like in our hearts, in our souls, in our brains, in our stomachs, we love show business. And I remember Clint Eastwood made Bird, and I'm a big fan of Clint Eastwood's work, but Bird was not the best because it was depressing almost all the way through. I know he had a sad life and he was really a mess, but where was the joy of performance?
Yes.
And that's something I'm missing from a lot of these movies. Where's the joy? I know how bad these people had it. I know how horrible it was, but give me the joy too. You got to blend the two together.
Well, so this year, I said that 2020 was what I call the great pause. 2021, I was calling the great recovery, but I think I had to fit something else in. I think we're still in the great transition between pre-COVID, COVID, vaccines, and what's it going to look like afterward. Do you think next year's crop of Oscar-nominated films will be full of that joy like we got through it?
I'm hoping. I'm hoping. I am. I'm thinking of how I felt after I saw The Prom. Was that Netflix or Hulu? Was The Prom Netflix?
It must have been Netflix because I don't have Hulu.
And I was so uplifted afterward. And
I was too.
God, why can't I find that in the movies I sit and watch and, in the big screen? But I'm hoping, I can say I'm hoping it's going to be what you just said, David, that we're going to get more upbeat, more uplift. Yes, I know. I mean, but if you show me Billie Holiday, show me the joy too. Show me the same with Ma Rainey, the same with everybody. One Night in Miami had some wonderful joy in it. It really did. But overall, these are some pretty sad films. So I'm hoping that we see more of that. It
Well,
should be a really interesting year coming up.
well, I'm looking forward to talking to you again after the Oscars. I won't bother you.
Fashion.
I won't talk to you until after everything's over tomorrow. Again, everyone, please email me at news at davidperry.com with your predictions. And the person who gets the most or all of them right first gets a double autographed copy of my book, Me and Jan.
Flourish. Yes.
There you go. Jan, any closing thoughts for people who love movies? And
I'm with you, kids. I mean, I am with you. Movies uplift, inspire, educate, help us escape, and really speak to us on so many personal levels. So it's the best art form because it combines everything into one. And I'm just crazy for it. So I know we'll find some great films. And keep looking. Don't stop looking at classic Hollywood too.
Oh, no. And if you love Hollywood and if you love Jan Wahl as much as Alfredo and I do, see her podcast. It's fantastic. YouTube, Jan Wahl Showbiz. And you can also go to your website, which is
janwahl.com. And the reason you go there is if you want me to lecture to your group or a fundraiser or just want to get me to talk to. So.
Yeah, because Jan and I both have a secret fetish. Don't tell anyone. We both love ships. I went around the world by ship 2.5 times. I met my husband after I came off the ship. Jan and I have both lectured aboard ship. If you want a fascinating lecture about Hollywood and deep dish, Jan Wahl's your gal. So go to janwahl.com, janwahl.com, and find her on YouTube at Jan Wahl Showbiz.
And read David's book, man. You will be glad you did. It's just sexy. I mean, it's like, what is the name of that series, that book where the guy goes and finds the Vatican and all that? What's that called?
Oh, the Da Vinci Code.
It's like a sexy, gay Da Vinci Code. But when I say gay, I mean gay in the best sense, that it's inclusive.
I am going to put that on my next printing. Jan Wahl says a sexy Da Vinci Code. I love it. Jan, always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Ahoy.
David. Ahoy.